Hello and welcome to the demo video for the client follow-up schedule. I'm remaking this video. I've recently done an update to the spreadsheet, so I've just remade the video. So I'll show you what's new in case you've already got this. But let's just go through the whole spreadsheet. First of all, your business name will be locked. You can put in a username. Now what a username means essentially is if you've got maybe 2 or 3 people within the company who are all following up their own leads, you can put an individual's name in there and then you can have different spreadsheets. But the business name will be locked. You can then select up to 8 categories. Now categories are basically, you can categorize each of the leads slash clients if you've got different products that you're supplying, or if you've got different categories of clients, or whatever the case might be. I personally use this one, and I use it to separate into the different kinds of potential jobs that people are looking for, but you can categorize that into any kind of categories that you want. And then lastly, there are the bank holidays. Now bank holidays, 9 times out of 10 this will be blank. You can leave it. In the case where a bank holiday changes, you can actually go and change the bank holidays. So say for argument's sake, the 1st of January, let's just put that in. As you put the 1st of January, it ticks to say yes, it's bank holiday. If they move the 1st of January for some reason to the 2nd of January, then you can click it like that, and what it does is it removes that one and adds in that bank holiday. So it's simply for changing a bank holiday in the occurrence where sometimes we know in 2020 they did this, where they changed one of the bank holidays, and you can do it here. Otherwise, if all the bank holidays stay as they are, just leave that blank. That's all you need to do to set up. Then we move on to the main spreadsheet, the main tab, should we say. And this is your client slash lead database. So you can add a name, the client name, some kind of job description or text to tell you what it's about. The contact name, now I've put in just LinkedIn, some of those where I've got on LinkedIn, if I've got like a message going on LinkedIn. Otherwise I put the telephone number. Then you can put the email address, contact email address, and then select the category. Now, all categories that you select will be the ones that you've put in here. So you can select each one to a category. Then what you can do is you can simply select whether they're a lead or a client. Lastly, or not lastly, but the next thing to do, the main thing here, before we get to the dates, how often do you want to follow up with each client? So if you want to follow up with a client every week, you simply put in 7 days. If you want to follow up with 2 weeks, put in 14 days. 1 month, 6 months, a year, you can put in 12 months. You can even put in 12 months and 3 days if you want to go to that particular level. And then what this does is you then fill in the initial date. So the initial date is when you initially speak to the client. Once you've done that, you do the last follow-up date. Now the last follow-up date, you will override this date each time. So if say for example, this person here, 2nd of November, let's just say you followed up with them on the 1st of December, you put it in the 1st of December. Then if you followed up again with them on the 1st of January 2021, you put in the 1st of January 2021. You just simply overwrite that date each month. So this is just keeping track of the last follow-up, and then the client's last reply you put in there. So these 3 dates will then work together to give you the report. So for argument's sake, if you've initially connected with a client, you've never followed up with them, client's never had a reply, then it will affect these dates here. I'll come back to next follow-up and sort in a minute, but this next follow-up is essentially calculating when next you're due to follow up with them. So it looks here, it says, when last did you follow up? If that's blank, it goes, when was the initial date? How often are you due to follow up? And it puts in the next date when you're supposed to follow up with that person. Now, as you can see, there are a few that are due this week. There are a few that there's none due next week. There are a few due after that, and there's one that's overdue. If you decide, well, actually, yes, this is the initial date. That is the last time they followed up. That is the last time that we heard from them. But I'm supposed to follow up, but I'm actually going to delay that, say, until the 20th of November. Then as you can see, it changes there as well. So you can put a temporary delay in here. Just remember that if you update these values here and you've still got a next follow-up, it'll take that next follow-up to override here anyway. So if you do use that, make sure you know what you're doing. And when you update these columns here, then simply come and remove that, and it'll go back to using these dates here. The sorter column is so that you can sort this data, because now obviously all of these dates are in a muddle. You can sort using these filters here, but you can't sort this because this is an automated column. So if you want to get these dates in order, if you scroll across, you'll see it says rank. So if you come here, copy that, simply paste values there, not normal paste, paste values. So it's the second one, paste values. Normal paste will paste the formulas and will ruin it. You want to use paste values. Then you can simply go here and go smallest to largest, and it'll sort. Now it's sorted them all into the order, and then you can just clear that you used it. So it's just a temporary column so that you can in fact sort these things into the right order to follow up. Here's a client name, job description combinations. It just says Sarah. It just basically puts these two texts together just so you can see what each job is about. And then you've got your client reply status. Now the client reply status is new. This is what I've added. So it looks at your last client reply, it looks at your last follow-up, and it says, well, this one's up to date because we sent them a follow-up on the 12th of October and they replied on the 12th of October. If we sent them a follow-up on the 12th saying they replied on the 15th, it would still be up to date. This one here, we sent them the last follow-up on the 13th of November, but they haven't replied since the 26th of October. So because that date's before that one, it says that there's a reply due. And then these ones here who've never replied, it says never replied. So it gives you a client reply status. This applies to clients and leads. So that's the main data entry tab, and these the ones with the green headers are all formulated. These yellow ones are ones that you may or may not need to use from time to time, and the red ones are the ones you really want to be populating and keep up to date. There is one last thing, but I'll show you what that is in a minute. Let's go to the client follow-up list. Now the client follow-up list simply takes all the people that you need to follow up with and just puts it in order. You can't edit anything on here. This is all automated, but you can filter it, and that's why I've put it on here. So you can come here and you can filter and go, actually, I just want to see leads for now, please. I don't want to see clients. And then you can also go down here and you can actually go, well, I don't want once-off large projects. I just want the other projects. And it'll filter to show you what you've selected. Now, make sure if you've got filters selected here that you come back and reselect everything if you want to see the full list. But this will give you a filtered list of who you need to follow up with in the order that you need to follow up with them. If you come back to the lead and client database, this show including excluding lines, if you say yes, it shows the green ones are the ones that currently appear on the follow-up list, and the red ones are the ones that don't. That's what that is telling you. So you can if you do activate this follow-up list by making different selections, you can come here and select yes, and it'll show you what's happening on that list. The other thing that it does, let's just go back to everybody. The other thing that it does is, you've obviously only got a certain number of rows here. I'm not sure how many we've had. How many did we have there? Let's have a look. 30 rows. So if you have 31 people on this list, what will happen is it'll go page 1 of 2. So then you can look at page 1, or you can come and select page 2 and you can see page 2. Now there's nothing on page 2, but if there were items on page 2, you could use that to scroll through the pages. But because they're in follow-up order, one would imagine the first page would be the most important one to you. The other thing that you can do is an archive. So any of these guys, if for example someone leaves, or not necessarily leaves, but you want to remove them from this list, either they were a client and they've gone, or they were a lead and they've told you they're not interested and you want to take them off of this list, you can simply come, select the row. I would go up to client's last reply, but you did we add in the other ones? Yes, we did. So you can go all the way up to the end of the sorter column, right click, copy, come to the archive, paste values. Remember, not normal paste, that'll paste all the formulas and things and it'll ruin it. You want to go to paste values. You can paste values and you can come back to the lead and client and you can right click and you can say clear contents. So now you've simply removed that one, you can then resort again into client name order, or you can put these values back into there and resort, or however you want to resort, just to clear that removed line. And now you've got it over here. So now you've got this one in your archive. So this one's not generating follow-up dates or anything else like that. It's just simply data that's stored here, so you can come back and you can see what their situation was, and keep a record of all the people that have come off of the list. But this isn't doing any formulas or tracking anything or anything like that. Lastly is the report page. Now this tab is completely updated based on the data that you've got here, or the data that you've got here in some cases. So the first one shows you what you've done last week, so what follow-ups you did last week, and each one's colorized based on the color of the job type. So let's just go back to the intro and setup. You can see there those colors, etc. They different colors are shown on the report to show you what has been done. If you hover over it, you're able to see once off, small, lead, due week after, so on and so forth. So this is the last week, what you did. This is what's been done this week. This is what's overdue. This is what's due this week, due next week, due the week after, and then due in week 4. So you can see for the next 4 weeks what follow-ups are coming up. You scroll down, you can see a breakdown by category. So all your this data includes the values on the lead and the client data, lead and client database, and the archive. So it's both of them. You can see a breakdown of the number of the different kinds of jobs. Here you can see the different kinds of jobs and how many of each you've got. You'll be able to see, if you look carefully, that one's see-through, that one's solid. So on collaboration, on each of these ones, if you've got, say, some collaboration that are solid, i.e. clients, and some collaboration that are leads, i.e. Transparent, i.e. leads, you'll see part of the bar will be solid and part will be leads. In fact, if we go here, and I can show you to this, and if we say one of small, if we say that they're now a client, and we go back to the report, you'll be able to see, there we go, client, lead. So it's a breakdown of solid or transparent. If you scroll down a bit more, you can see all the numbers: number of clients, number of leads, percentage, a total percentage of leads, clients a percentage in each category. So in other words, 100% of the collaboration are all clients, 33% here are clients, that kind of thing. So you can see a breakdown of all the numbers. And if you scroll down a bit further, here's a new section that's been added on. This shows you a breakdown between clients and leads. So you can see, if you hover over it, it gives you the percentages. They are in the text. And then you've got the number by client reply. So you can see up to date, never replied, replies due. So your breakdown of client reply. So this stuff excludes the archive, because the archives aren't tracking client replies anymore. This one here, you can choose whether it includes or excludes. At the moment it includes, but if you come here and select excludes, then it actually excludes the archive. Or you can come here and say include the archive. So you can choose there whether you include or exclude the archive as far as client and lead breakdowns concerned. So this report updates automatically. Your follow-up list updates automatically. You've got these filters here for the page, or to include leads and clients or different categories. Your archive is for putting on all the moving all the entries across when you don't want to be tracking them anymore. And your lead and client database is basically your updated database, or up-to-date database, where you can update your last follow-up and the client last reply. Essentially, those will be the ones that you're updating regularly. You may change the frequency as well. You might start off by following up every 7 days. You may change it over to a month, or whatever it is later on. And you can change these categories and so on as you go along too. So yeah, that's it, the client follow-up schedule. I hope that all makes sense to you. Yeah, if you are using this, I really hope that it helps you. It's something that I personally use a rendition of the spreadsheet, so it's really, really helpful to me. And I'm hoping that it helps you just as much. Thank you very much, and goodbye.